Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning and welcome to the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors meeting this morning. Juanita, would you please call the roll?
Yes, good morning, Chairman Sellers. I understand we are trying to get Supervisor Chupri on the line. So I will start with Supervisor Gates.
Here.
Supervisor Hickman.
Here.
Supervisor Gallardo. Don't have
I'm told
Doesn't look like he's on the line, Juanita.
I'm told he is on the line. No, he is not? Okay. Okay, well, we do have a quorum. So this morning we're going to have a presentation on the Maricopa County Head Start program by Mr. Bruce Liggett, our Human Services Department Director. And before I turn it over to Bruce, I want to mention that one of the highlights that I've had in my time as a county supervisor was attending one of those sessions and reading to the kids and talking to the parents about the significant impact that it's having in their lives and how much it's helping us with our community in general. So, Bruce, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And members of the board. So this morning what we're doing is the annual presentation to the board that's required by Head Start regulations. We're required to do training on role and the purpose of the program. We last did an update exactly 2 years ago in May of 19. And last year, the requirement for this so-called training was waived by the federal program. So doing the bulk of the presentation will be our Assistant Director for Early Education, Eve Del Real, who's been with us for 2 years now as the Assistant Director. She's been with the program longer. So we will quickly zip through the requirements and hit on some of the highlights for you. Next slide, please. So as required, we're going to cover today the overview of the program, the performance standards we have to meet, the board's role in governance, and some of the outcomes we've achieved, and our initiatives, our accomplishments, and our summer pilot we're planning to kick off. Next, please. Eve will talk about the program in a little more depth here.
So good morning, all, and thank you again for your time today. So what you'll notice again is that our program continues to provide services for 1,245 children. That is our funded enrollment. And we are across Maricopa County, East and West Valley. We have 91 classrooms at 43 sites, total funding of $19,530,131. Can I get the next slide, please? I think it's really important for us to start off with the celebration with acknowledging that Maricopa County is a 56-year Head Start grantee. Head Start's mission is to deliver comprehensive, high-quality, individualized services supporting the school readiness of children from low-income families. And we're governed by the Head Start performance standards that define really the standards, the minimum requirements for the entire range of Head Start services. And when you think about our comprehensive model, it includes, again, the health, nutrition, family services, mental health, inclusion services. And I've told Bruce, we have 1,500 performance standards that help govern all of the work that we do. Next slide.
So let me talk a little bit about the specifically what we have to cover in terms of the role and the requirements. All of these are achieved through our presentations and Board of Supervisor agenda items. So the role of the board is to annually approve the application that's required and the budgets that are submitted for Head Start, our audits, the community assessment that we do where we determine what the needs are in our community, how we enroll people and what the criteria is for that. We do a self-assessment, and when we have corrective action items, you're appraised of those. And our goals. All that's contained in BOS agenda items. And as things come up that are needed, if there are any personnel policies or standards of conduct that have to change, we would bring them before you. Next, please. In terms of, there's a shared governance role. We have a parent policy council, and they meet regularly to oversee what we're doing with the program. The board's required to have a designated liaison, and that is Chris Arzaga-Williams. She's done a great job of participating and staying involved with the program. And each site has parent committees that they inform the council and our decisions. And then in terms of regular fiscal responsibilities, you see those through budget items, and also when we turn in our quarterly reports to the board in terms of our performance. Next slide, please.
So as part of the annual review, we also go over the early education selection criteria. So the selection criteria governs how our program determines eligibility and enrolls children. Eligibility determination is established through 4 specific criteria based on family income. So the family's income is equal or below the federal poverty level. We also enroll children that are homeless, that are in foster care, or families that are receiving public assistance. The established selection priorities are based on the community needs assessment and other family or child risk factors that include prioritizing children with special needs, working families, or those in school or returning students. Next slide. So as part of our annual update, we wanted to take this opportunity to also highlight some key program outcomes that positively impacted our community and the families we serve. So I have 3 specific outcomes that we wanted to go over with you today. So our health, our family services, and school readiness. So we served 1,552 children during program year 1920. You'll note the number of children that are also identified at higher risk, which were 1,072 that were living in poverty and 188 experiencing homelessness, with 99 in foster care. Our program does emphasize and heavily promote children's health and well-being by providing medical, oral, nutritional, and mental health support services. And as part of our health outcomes, we connected 777 children with dental exams through our And then through our internal vision screening process, we identified 62 children needing glasses. And I have to point out that our Welsh Eye Spot Vision Screener can identify vision stigma in children as young as 6 months. I love that. I have to share. Next slide, please.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Of the children identified with reading problems, then, is there a way for them to get assistance in getting that corrected, or corrective glasses or whatever?
Yes, there is, and that's an excellent question. What the Welsh Vision Screening Machine does, it actually provides the family with a report, which then they take to Nationwide. We do have a partnership with them. And so then the family works together with the Nationwide provider to get the assistance that they need. So that's one of the benefits of the program, I think, being able to connect families to those resources a little easily.
That's great, because certainly vision problems can be a real impetus to learning. So thank you.
Yes, definitely. And we know that as we're preparing our children to transition into kindergarten, we want to ensure that that is one of the areas that we've addressed. So then our program, highly collaborates with our families. We work with our families to identify needs and to connect them with the resources that not only lead to strong parent-child relationships, but also promotes economic stability. You'll note that by the end of the program year, 81% of our parents were working, and we had 8% of our families that were in school or in a vocational training. The graph on the left demonstrates the additional assistance and resources that we provided to our families. So we had 245 families that were requesting parent education, 211 that were requesting emergency assistance. And then on the bottom of the slide, you'll notice that we had our self-assessment where we had parental feedback. And we were very proud that during this time that our families still felt very strongly about the program and its impact. And one of the last quotes on there that we found very valuable and touching was that there hasn't been a moment where Head Start staff haven't been able to give me a resource they needed. Next slide. And then the last one, our school readiness outcomes, which is the big one for Head Start. So our program uses strength-based approaches to early learning designed to enhance a child's skills and confidence to succeed in school and life. Our program measures a child's school readiness skills through ongoing observation based on assessment grounded in 38 research-based objectives of meeting or exceeding age-level expectations for social-emotional, cognitive, language, literacy, math, and physical development. So during program year 1920, children continued to demonstrate significant increases by the spring assessment cycle. So you'll notice that at the beginning, there's an average of 61% of children that were meeting or exceeding age-level expectations. And by the spring assessment cycle, we have about 90% of our children meeting or exceeding those age-level expectations. Next slide.
So I'm really proud of even what the staff have done. I think we're the only place in the county where we may have county employees watching young children every day, fully responsible for young children in classrooms. But we've not been in classrooms. This has been a really challenging year. And so what Eve and the team has put together is incredible virtual learning opportunities. Many of the Head Start programs all across the country lost enrollment significantly. So what the federal government did is say, we want to set a target for you. You got to maintain at least 800 of your 1,200. And we consistently maintained that enrollment and kept children and parents engaged in learning. And part of that's being nimble, as the board and every department and certainly Head Start has had to do over this past year, is in terms of as the situation changed, we change. So we continue to emphasize monitoring and continuous improvement. Bringing accountability into the world of early education is sometimes challenging because people love the children, they love interacting with the children, but we need to see the outcomes too in terms of their school readiness. So we've got a lot more data reporting that we're doing and much more classroom monitoring. So what I'm really pleased about is also that we are now transitioning into our summer plan to begin to hold in-person classrooms. So Eve, you want to talk about that on the next slide, please?
Absolutely. So we developed a 6-week option to help fill the gaps in learning loss for children. In an effort to ensure the health and safety of our enrolled children and staff, we're implementing a phased-in model with reduced class size that will support in-person services for 328 children that are at higher risk. At 20 sites in 32 classrooms, we're hoping to have our 52 teachers and teachers assistants in place for 6.5 hours or 10 hours a day. Next slide, please. So the program implemented 13 updated COVID policies specific to classroom environments. These are elevated mitigation strategies and modifications based on CDC guidance. That includes the utilization of air purifiers in every single classroom, updated cleaning solutions that are at a medical grade, hand-free faucets, and paper towel dispensers, and then health checks and masks for children and staff. Can I get the next slide, please? So with that said, we really wanted to thank you for all your time and the support that's been provided to Head Start. One of the reasons our program was so successful during the pandemic was really thanks to county leadership, the opportunity for our staff to pivot quickly and continue providing services virtually, continue to impact the lives and those most vulnerable throughout our service area. During our rollout, we quickly understood the negative impact that the digital divide had on our communities, and we have to thank you for your support. We were able to distribute 400 laptops to our families that were in need. The impact this made to our families was more than what we had anticipated. And I wanted to share that this is one of our recipients on the slide whose mother had been struggling to purchase a laptop. She actually her mom went and purchased 2 laptops at a pawn shop. She couldn't afford it. Both devices she had purchased were broken. And so mom at that point had determined that she had to drop out of school. So really thanks to your support and our ability to get these distributed, Mom was able to sustain her vocational training. She was able to continue participating in the Head Start program. And then she was also able to help the rest of the children that she had in the home. So thank you again for all of that ongoing support. Our children and families are so grateful for that.
And I think the mother said when she got it, it's new.
New, yes.
It's new.
Mom did not realize the new device was going to make such a huge impact in her life. I mean, it really did.
Well, and thank you all so much. What a great response you had for the pandemic and in handling this program, and such an important part of our community and a great investment for us. And so happy to see the results. Do we have questions or comments from the board?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Go ahead,
Yeah, thank
Steve.
you. Real quick, I just want to thank Bruce and the entire staff here with Head Start that oversees Head Start. This is just a critical program. I know the city of Phoenix mostly covers my side of the district, but I know firsthand the importance of this type of program to our families. Many of our families, especially now more than ever, are just struggling economically and also socially. And these types of programs really gear up and help not only the families but the students prepare and get themselves ready for school, but it be elementary school or so on. Nonetheless, as a school board member, I see it firsthand as well. I mean, I was on Cartwright Elementary School District for a number of years and just saw it firsthand. I mean, I would regularly take the tour of the Head Start program right in the middle. It's right across the street from John F. Long Elementary School, and just see the progress that these kids have when they get into the Cartwright umbrella for the most part. So first, just great. Thank you so much, and appreciate all the work they do. This is just a great program. I wish we can expand it and make it bigger, which the federal government would step up and even offer it everywhere. I mean, even if it's just a handful of students, you're opening up the doors of opportunity and advancing these kids like no ever before. So thank you, Bruce, entire staff. Appreciate it so much. This is great stuff. Appreciate the presentation too as well.
Hey,
Thank you, Steve.
I wonder, Nadia, if we could go back to slide 5. It's possible to go back. I failed to point out enough when I was covering the board responsibilities that there's the chairman reading, I believe, Hungry Caterpillar to the children. So, chairman spent a lot of time in that classroom. So thank you very much for your support, all.
Well, and again, you know, to me, the most significant thing that I learned is what a positive impact this is having. And I can't thank you and your staff enough for all that you're doing. Vice Chair?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just echo the comments of my colleagues, and from my time on the Phoenix City Council, I have a great appreciation for the importance of Head Start for the young people in our community. Just a question on the summer program. Is that new then? Do you not typically have a summer program?
Typically, we run through the summer.
Okay.
It's just that with the pandemic, we had to suspend services. So as we're rolling back in, we're calling it the summer extension opportunity, because we're targeting specific children that are transitioning into kindergarten. So we're hoping that we can, as we're phasing back in, resume at a pace level to ensure everyone's health and safety, since we've been closed for a year now, since March of last year, in person. But we've been providing services virtually.
Well, I'm pleased to see that you're doing that summer program. Seems like a great way to get back into things. On your standards, very, very impressive numbers there from the fall to the spring. How do those compare with the historic numbers?
So we were very lucky that we were still able to meet our typical benchmarks. That's the average. Because teaching staff were able to pivot so quickly towards the end of the program year during 1920, we didn't see much of a decrease or decline because those services continued. Again, the curriculum that we're using continues to be implemented to fidelity. So there's very minimal gaps in the opportunities that we're still providing other than the in-person interaction.
Well, congratulations. That's really quite an achievement in such difficult times. So again, thanks for everything you do, and thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Well, and thank you. Pardon? Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Mr. Chairman, Steve. I just want to thank Bruce and Eve, and I would just simply put it as another home run. And without you, we would be lost when it comes to these type of important issues, as well as programs like Head Start. So kudos to you both. Thank you, and it's nice to see the evolution continue and how we can serve our residents of Maricopa County.
Thank you, Supervisor Chukri, and I did see you in this presentation too, I believe.
Slide 6, please.
Jack, we're just trying to prove that I can read or do some of these things. And Eve took me on a great tour of a facility we had in Mesa. Eve, I think that was, 3 years ago, maybe? It was a while ago.
Very nice. Thank you. Well, and again, Bruce, you know, this has really been a very, very difficult year for your entire department, and I am constantly amazed at how well your staff has responded to the pandemic and made Maricopa County look good in so many ways. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay. Well, and thank you for that presentation. I believe I can now entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion passes. So we will now go into exec session. Will you please close the door? We need 5 minutes, I'm told.
2